authority, you're fired. It was me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin. Nevertheless, folks, welcome back to hashtag AskTSM, the weekly Monday Back video where I answer your questions from YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter right here in this video form. I bought this Mr. McMahon mask at the NEW show, the indie event that I went to last week. Here's a clear shot of it. I'm also wearing my Mr. McMahon shirt that I bought off Amazon a couple of weeks ago, but obviously, if you can't tell, I'm a huge Mr. McMahon mark. I was very excited that he was on last night's show, in addition to the Stinger himself, Sting, making his very first WWE debut last night on Survivor Series on the WWE Network for free. So that was a great, great night. I'll be talking all about it in today's video. Lots of great questions talking about the Authority being out of power, Sting in WWE, Dolph Ziggler being a main event star, and everything else that went down last night at Survivor Series. I'm breaking it down. I'm answering all the questions that you guys sent in all over social media, which was blowing up last night with everything that happened, as was I. So we'll get right down to it right now. Jose K, his question was, are Eric Rowan and Luke Harper going to be the new Undertaker and Kane? Big feuds, later team up, have a feud again. I know Rowan doesn't have the best in-ring skills, but it's not like Kane is Daniel Bryan out there anyway. I'm pretty sure Eric Rowan can play that big man role. Absolutely not. I see where you're going with this, and that Luke Harper and Eric Rowan can be the new Kane and Undertaker. If you're comparing Rowan to Kane, then Harper is Undertaker. I don't see that at all. So I kind of see what you're getting at here, but not really. But still, though, I know there was another YouTube question I forgot to include in the lineup, and I'll answer it next week. I think it was from Pig Window, so I apologize for that. I just want to mention that right now. To answer Jose's question, I don't at all think that Harper and Rowan are the new Undertaker and Kane by any stretch of the imagination. I know you said that Kane isn't the best in-ring worker and Rowan isn't either, but Kane, for all the shit that he gets for being an in-ring wrestler, is miles above Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan is not good. Not even Cesaro could get a good match out of Rowan last week on SmackDown. So I see what you're getting at here, but I do not believe that at all. I mean, I don't like to say that this person's going to be the next this person anyway. I don't like to make those comparisons. I know I have made in the past, but still, though, I see what you're getting at. Harper and Rowan are not the next Brothers of Destruction, despite their history and the feud. Their feud is never going to be as great as Undertaker and Kane's. It's never going to be as storied as theirs. They're not going to be as good as in-ring workers as the other two. Harper is probably a better in-ring worker than both Undertaker and Kane. I mean, better character, better, I don't know. Undertaker is a great wrestler and all. I mean, it's really hard to say. I'm not even going to get into that right now. But no, I do not think that Harper and Rowan are the new Brothers of Destruction. I see the similarities, but you're really stretching it if you think that Harper's going to be the next Undertaker, Rowan's the next Kane, and stuff like that. I don't really see that at all, but I could see what you're getting at, though. Thomas has got a couple of questions from Facebook. Thomas B, first question was, is Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan a definite future WrestleMania feud/match? I wouldn't pencil that in as a future WrestleMania match, because I don't think of Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns as being like a dream match. Maybe Bryan and Rollins, maybe Bryan and Ambrose. Not so much Bryan and Roman. I'm Bryan and Roman, I'm sorry, not Rowan. I'm kind of going back to the last question. That could be a great match at some point down the line. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan have had matches before on Raw and stuff like that. They work well together, and they can have a great feud, whether it be over the WWE World Heavyweight title or not. I definitely do think with both guys being the future, that is, if Daniel Bryan can get back in the ring, and I fully believe that he will, that definitely is a future feud that we can see down the line, whether it be over the world title or not. It may not be WrestleMania caliber. I could see it happening at WrestleMania. I don't see it like it needs to be at WrestleMania, like it's a WrestleMania match. Like I said before, I see Daniel Bryan versus Rollins being more of WrestleMania caliber as opposed to Roman and Daniel Bryan. So I definitely see it being a definite feud, like you said. Maybe not WrestleMania caliber though. His second question was, did WWE make the right decision in giving Harper the Intercontinental Championship, or Championship Gold in general, before Bray Wyatt? It's really gonna, only time will tell. I mean, I know I was not the only one when Luke Harper won the Intercontinental title last week on Raw that was shocked that he won title gold, any type of title gold, whether it be tag team, singles, whatever, before Bray Wyatt. It was supposed to be the leader of the Wyatt family, and he was. But does Bray Wyatt deserve the gold before Luke Harper? Probably. I mean, he's a better character overall. Luke Harper, I think, is amazing. I'm very happy for him. Not to shit on Luke Harper or anything. And I think it's great that he's Intercontinental Champion. I think he's the guy, as opposed to Dolph Ziggler, they're more keen on protecting. And I know Dolph Ziggler just won the fucking main event of Survivor Series last night, but before that, he was losing non-title matches. He lost to Rusev Clean last week on SmackDown. Great that he wasn't the champion at the time, but he wasn't the champion anymore at that point. But he was losing non-title matches all the time. It really devalued the title. And I don't blame it on Dolph Ziggler. It's just the booking of his character and him as champion and whatever else. So I'm hoping with Luke Harper they don't make that same mistake. He can actually win more matches as a champion, more non-title matches, and they hopefully won't run into that same problem. And Rusev, you know they're going to protect because he has yet to lose a singles match via pinfall or submission. So you know for a fact that he's not going to lose. So that's that's at least somewhat encouraging. But do I think it was the right decision to give Harper to give him title gold first before Bray Wyatt? Was it smart? Like I said, it's only time will tell. I think Luke Harper can do great things with that Intercontinental title. Bray Wyatt, he should have gotten gold a long time ago. I'm not saying he should have won the World Heavyweight Championship at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view a couple of months ago, because I know he was in that ladder match to crown a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I'm not saying that at all, and I do think Bray Wyatt will be a champion over time. It's just right now, and it's not like he's not doing anything. He's involved in a great feud with Dean Ambrose right now, so at least they're doing something with Bray Wyatt, and he's not completely off TV like he was a couple of weeks ago. So I'm glad they're doing something with him. I think Harper and Bray Wyatt, I think, can have a great feud over that Intercontinental title at some point in time, whether Harper be the babyface or Bray Wyatt turn babyface at some point. They need more top heels right now, so I would prefer they keep Bray Wyatt as the heel for as long as possible. But I do think that could be a great feud over that IC title, whether it be at WrestleMania or not. I think that could be a great WrestleMania match for both guys, Luke Harper versus Bray Wyatt. The match would be kick-ass. The story is there. The title gold is on the line. It's only going to enhance the prestige of that Intercontinental title belt. So I'd be all for that. But I don't think it was the wrong decision to give a Luke Harper title gold first before Bray Wyatt, but it was a little shocking to say the least. His next question was, do you see Sting versus Triple H at TLC? And he said with a stipulation that if Sting wins, he becomes general manager, and if Triple H wins, the Authority are still in business. So the stipulation I'm a little bit confused by, because Triple H, it's not like he decides if he's Authority or not, because he still has a job. I know Vince McMahon kind of cleared that up at the start of the pay-per-view last night. They're just not running things on Raw and SmackDown anymore. It's kind of confusing, but they still have desk jobs, whatever. So if Sting wants to become GM, John Cena can give him that role immediately, or Vince or whatever. He shouldn't have to fight for it. But that's just nitpicking things. The match itself, Sting versus Triple H, when I saw that unfold last night on the pay-per-view, I'm assuming that's for WrestleMania 31. And some people have said, and someone else asked this, and I'll get to this a little later on, that Sting versus Undertaker is still the go-to match at WrestleMania next year. I'm not exactly sure of that. When I saw that unfold last night with Triple H and Sting, I assume that Undertaker's pretty much done. I mean, it sucks that he has yet to confirm that, or anyone has yet to confirm that he's officially retired. He just kind of went out with a whimper. The streak ending and that bad match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I'm really hoping that's not his last match and he does face Sting next year at WrestleMania. Only time will tell. And some people are saying, oh, we could do Triple H versus Sting at TLC and then build to Undertaker versus Sting at WrestleMania. I guess it's a possibility. And if you told me that like a week ago, I would completely rule it out of the question. Because I don't think they're going to give away Sting's first match on a B pay-per-view on TLC. But then again, I mean, they really, really want to sell pay-per-view buys. I mean, last night on the pay-per-view, or not pay-per-view buys, the network subscription, they were really pushing Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose. Then the next pay-per-view, they promoted that a month in advance. They promoted Stone Cold's podcast right after the free subscription, after the month ends on early December. They also have a few other things they promoted as well. Like they promoted, like I said, in the next pay-per-view, they gave away Sting's unveiling, his debut on the pay-per-view to kind of hook subscribers to subscribe into the next month. So I definitely see their business decision. It worked out from a fan standpoint and from a business standpoint. I thought it was great. 10 out of 10 for Sting's debut at the end of the pay-per-view last night. But I do think it would be rushing it a little bit if he was to have his first match in the WWE, which is a huge fucking deal, to do that at TLC as opposed to WrestleMania. My belief, and like I said before, other people ask similar questions, so I'll address it when I come to it. My belief is that Sting is only having one more match. Not one more run. I'd be totally all for him having one more run, but my belief is that he's having one more match, and it's going to be at WrestleMania in his home state of California, whatever else. That's what my belief is. So I don't see him wrestling at any point between now and then. And I said this earlier this year when the rumors of Sting being in WWE first kind of started up. I really don't want to see Sting as an authority figure. We saw that in TNA. He got watered down, as did Hulk Hogan. They were all over the fucking show. I was not in favor of that at all. I think if you want to maintain the specialness of the Sting character, you'll keep him off TV a little more often. You have him show up every once in a while, stuff like that. So, yeah, I would be all in favor for him kind of doing a pseudo-like appearance where he shows up every few months, maybe on the Raw after the Royal Rumble or after each pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania. If you make him the GM, he's going to be appearing on every Raw, maybe every SmackDown. He's going to get, watered down by the time WrestleMania comes around. I mean, maybe he still will feel special, but I think in the GM role with the character that they're giving him, the Crow character, it just wouldn't really make any sense. I mean, maybe you do a promo tonight on Raw, and if you're watching this later on in the week, maybe you know better than I would, obviously. If he's appearing on Raw tonight, I certainly hope so. And if he's not, I won't be disappointed because I understand why. You might want to promote it. But even so, though, I think it's better if you don't give him that authority figure role. Triple H winning, I mean, with the Authority being back in business, it's not really all that intriguing. I do not want to see Authority back anytime soon, if ever again. So, no, I do not see Sting versus Triple H in the next pay-per-view. I would not rule that out of the question. I would not put it past WWE to have Sting's first match in WWE be on the next pay-per-view at TLC as opposed to WrestleMania. I just don't see it as being a legit possibility, though. I guess we'll find out more tonight on Raw. Next set of questions come from Paul S. His first question was, do you think it would be better for Eric Rowan to remain a heel? I don't think it really matters for the most part. I'm no Eric Rowan fan. I think he's okay. I mean, of course, he was the worst of the Wyatt family, but I do think he's decent. Like I said before, he's not great because Cesaro couldn't get a decent match out of him on SmackDown last week. But I do think he's passable. But like I said before, it really doesn't matter. I was very confused as to why he was on the Survivor Series team in the first place. It's not like he played a big role. I know they've tried to further the feud between him and Luke Harper. Maybe that's the next feud they do for the Intercontinental Championship. I understand that, and it looks like a lot of people are excited for that, as am I. But aside from that, where do you really go with the Luke Harper, with the Eric Rowan character? Maybe you do a thing with Bray Wyatt after that, but even then, I don't really see much lasting power in the Eric Rowan character. Because a month ago, I thought he was going to be fucking jobbing on WWE Superstars because he comes in stalking Renee Young and all this other bullshit. And in the Grumpy Cat segment, then he comes out and he headlines the show. Like, it was really confusing. So I don't know where you go with Eric Rowan after this apparent feud with Luke Harper runs its course, but it really doesn't matter if he's heel or face. As a face, he can gain some sympathy for being this mentally challenged character like a Eugene maybe, which I'm not in favor of. Those characters are really, really limited. Eugene was a one-of-a-kind. I just don't see Eric Rowan being in that same league, I guess, as Eugene. And as a heel, he can have that creepy thing going on for him, which I thought he was before the whole Team Cena thing happened. I thought he was a heel. So I guess it really, time will tell, but I think as of right now, it really doesn't matter if he's babyface or heel. I just don't really see much of a future for him beyond this apparent feud with Luke Harper. And maybe they can prove me wrong. Maybe they'll do something with him. I'd be happy to see that. More fresh faces, the better. But I just don't really care, to be honest with you. I'm not a big Luke Harper or a big Eric Rowan fan. Face, heel doesn't really matter. At least they're doing something. I mean, I guess that's good, but I just can't see him really going beyond a certain level after this whole Luke Harper thing runs its course. Next question from Paul. Now that Bad News Barrett is back, who's the best star for him to feud with? I don't think he's back officially. I know he returned last night on the pre-show, had that cool promo, but I don't think he's back in in-ring shape yet, because I know he was injured back in like June. I thought he would have been back by now. And I think Bad News Barrett said recently in an interview that he's around 6 to 8 weeks maybe from returning, 4 to 6 weeks, something like that. So like a month and a half. So he might be back by the Royal Rumble, but for right now, I don't think he's ready to return in the ring. But to answer your question, when he is ready to return to the ring, who do you have him feud with? What direction do you take? I would love to see him go after the Intercontinental Championship, because remember, when he got injured back in June, he never lost an Intercontinental title. He had to be stripped of that title because of his injury. He never really lost to anyone. So it would only make sense from a storyline standpoint to have him go back after the title he technically never really lost. So him versus Harper, I think, is also a fresh feud. It could be a kick-ass match. And I think if you bring back Bad News Barrett as a babyface, it was not really established last night, and I kind of like that aspect of it, because you'll find out when he comes back soon. But I think bringing him back as a babyface might be the best thing. He's a great heel and all, but I think he's so over to the point where you just kind of go with it And unlike Cesaro, when they kind of forced the heel turn earlier this year, and they tried to force him as a heel as opposed to going with the flow and turning him babyface, like that never really made any sense to me. So hopefully they don't make that same mistake with Barrett and instead turn him babyface because that's what the people want to see him as. So Harper Barrett feud over the Intercontinental title I think would be great. Who else you had him feud with? I'm not really sure right now. A Bray Wyatt feud down the line. It really depends on whether he's babyface or heel. But a feud with Luke Harper I think would be top tier for his character to go back after that Intercontinental title. I think it makes the perfect sense, and it's also a fresh feud too, like I said before. So who wouldn't want to see that? His next question was how long will Cesaro be buried for? And I get questions like this all the time. And when a lot of people started asking it over the summer, when he was on that undefeated streak, or he was not undefeated streak, when he was on that defeated streak and he was unable to win a match for the fucking life of him, people were asking me that. And I said the fall, because I figured with Brock Lesnar being gone, RVD, Jericho, all these other part-timers leaving, not to mention Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns being out, I figured they would elevate Cesaro back to the level that he should be at. And that never really happened. I know they pushed him towards the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title and the feud with Ziggler and Sheamus, but that never really got him anywhere. He had great matches and all, but he failed to win the title. He's pretty much labeled as a loser because he lost to Ryback this past week. He lost to fucking Aaron Rowan on SmackDown, and that's like the kiss of death. But I can't really say. My best guess was his fall, but the fall's pretty much up and he has yet to be pushed. So, and I don't think he's being buried. If burying, in my world, in my light here, I think being buried is either A, being off TV, and I know he's losing a lot, but that not always translates to being buried. He's being far underutilized. That goes without saying. I think he's definitely being underutilized. Buried, though, like the Wyatt thing earlier this year when Bray Wyatt was taken out by John Cena on that episode of Raw, and the entire Wyatt family was made out to look like cowards and pussies and all this other stuff. Like, that was being buried, in my opinion. Cesaro, I mean, it's really arguable whether he's being buried or not, but how long will it last for? Like I said, it's anyone's guess at this point. It really sucks because I think he's a lot more capable. He's capable of a lot more than this, unfortunately. But I'm really hoping they turn him babyface at some point in time because that's where he belongs. As a heel, he's done it all. He was way more over as a babyface earlier this year. He's like Ziggler in that people appreciate his work, and once people start to get accustomed to his work and start appreciating him, it's hard to stay heel because the only reason, I've said this before here on the show, and that the only reason that Dolph Ziggler was ever booed as a heel a couple of years ago was because of Vicky Guerrero. He's a great heel like Cesaro, but he fails to get good heat because people like him so much as a wrestler. And Cesaro is in that same exact boat. So I'm really hoping they turn him babyface before long. That's the only thing I can really see them doing with Cesaro other than, losing every fucking week. It makes no sense to me. And his fourth and final question was, Roman Reigns said via an interview on the pay-per-view that when he comes back, he will be coming after Seth Rollins. Don't you think it's way too soon? Not really, because they were kind of already doing that feud anyway before he left. And, I mean, it wasn't the greatest feud, but it kind of gave Seth Rollins something to do in the time that Dean Ambrose was off TV. But that being said, though, I don't think it's too soon if they do that feud when Roman comes back, because he said on the pay-per-view last night he'll be back at this time next month. So I don't know if that means he'll be back in time for TLC or the Rumble or whatever. I assume for the Rumble. So maybe they do that as a little mini feud before they have him win the Rumble, which I still think is the plan. If not, and I'll be surprised to see what it will be. But at last word, I think they're still doing Reigns versus Lesnar. Unless they switch it, I'm not really sure. But as of right now, I still think that's the plan. So that being said, I do think that a little mini feud between Rollins and Reigns before WrestleMania season is the best for both guys. And maybe Randy Orton returns tonight and they do Orton versus Rollins on the next pay-per-view at TLC or maybe at the Rumble. I'm not really sure. But still, though, I think it'd be fine. I mean, there's really no reason to resume the rivalry, if only because Roman Reigns beat Seth Rollins clean on that episode of Raw right before Night of Champions, which still boggles my mind why they did that. So technically, he really has no reason to go after Seth Rollins. But he said that in the interview last night. He said that in the interview a couple weeks ago. So I have nothing against it. I think it's okay. So Rollins versus Reigns in my book it's going to be a great match. They had a very good match on Raw a couple of weeks ago, or about 2 months ago. I don't see it for any reason for it to kick up again, like I said before, because Roman Reigns really has no reason to go back after Seth Rollins. But it's a nice little mini feud with both guys before WrestleMania starts to kick in around the Royal Rumble time. So Andre G, his question was, he's got two questions, I believe, or they're kind of tied to the same thing. But his question was, what is your favorite Elimination Chamber match, and do you think the match will ever win Match of the Year award? There's been a lot of great Elimination Chamber matches. I can't think of one that was bad. Like I watched the December to Dismember pay-per-view a couple of weeks ago, or I think actually just last week, a couple of days ago actually. And that match, I mean, it had its moments, but it was not a great match at all. Like the elimination of CM Punk, like Hardcore Holly had no place being in that match. It was really, really weird, the booking of that match. So I would not constitute that as one of the best chamber matches of all time. But that being said, though, all the chamber matches to my memory, aside from that one, have been good to great to fucking awesome. But that said, though, I've never really put like a chamber match in my top 5 best matches of the year. Like the chamber match earlier this year at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view when Orton's title was on the line. I think it was Orton, Sheamus, Cena, Bryan, Christian, and Cesaro. And that was a great match, but I don't even think I would put that in my top 10 best matches of the year. I mean, it really all kind of depends. But in the way you look at it, it's all subjective anyway. It doesn't really matter. But no, I don't think it's ever going to win Match of the Year. It's possible. But like the 1-0-2, I thought was phenomenal. I watched that at Survivor Series. The 1-0-2 I thought was great with Michaels winning the World Heavyweight Championship. What a match. What a moment. Loved it. But still, though, I don't think it's ever going to win Match of the Year because it's a great match, but I don't think it's ever going to top anything else that comes first from that year. But to answer your first question, what's my favorite Elimination Chamber match of all time? I really, really like the 0-2 one, like I said before. But as a fan from the ones that I've watched as a fan from 08 onward, of all time, maybe the 0-2 one because I thought that one was great. But my favorite would have to be, and like I said, favorite and best chamber matches are really two very different things. I said this a couple of weeks ago. But your favorite year in wrestling, the best year in wrestling that you've been a fan for, are two very different things. Like I love 2011, but on the whole, though, it was not the best wrestling year. But that was still favorite to me. That was still my favorite because it had a lot of memories and stuff associated with myself. So that's why that would be my favorite year. But to go back to the chamber match, speaking of 2011, probably the SmackDown one from that year. I think it was for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was Edge, Kane, Wade Barrett, Big Show, Drew McIntyre, and who was the other guy? Maybe Dolph Ziggler. No, Dolph Ziggler got eliminated. He was gone. So wait, let me see here. It was Edge, Kane, McIntyre, Wade Barrett, Rey Mysterio, and Big Show. So it was those 6 guys. I thought that was a great match. I go back and I have that pay-per-view on DVD. And I love it if only for the moment when Christian comes back, like shortly thereafter, like for the first time in 6 months, and Booker T says, Christian Cage. I thought that was great because it's his TNA name, and that's probably what he knew him as at the time. Booker T had just come over from TNA. Anyway, so I thought that was a great match. It's probably my favorite chamber match of all time that I've seen anyway. Like I said, it's really up there with the 0-2 because I thought 0-2 was great. But on the whole, though, I would probably have to go with the SmackDown 2011 one for the World Heavyweight Championship. I thought that was a great match and very underrated in my opinion. Justin G, he's got a couple of questions as well. His first one is, we all know that John Cena will not get fired by the WWE, but why does the WWE keep on placing him in matches that includes a stipulation of getting fired? It's not only John Cena, but the getting fired stipulation is so freaking overdone in wrestling. There's really no need for it, because first of all, they're not going to actually get fired. 2, they're going to be back anyway. John Cena, when he got fired, remember at Survivor Series 4 years ago in 2010, he was fired after helping Randy Orton win the WWE title in his match against Wade Barrett. He was back the next fucking night. He never missed a week of TV. He's one guy, like I know Alex Riley was fired at one point. He was back the very next week. I can go on and on and on. Your fired stipulation is so overdone in wrestling. Save it for the moments when you know someone's going to leave. Like Chris Jericho in 2005 when he lost a match to John Cena. It made sense because he was actually leaving the company. Maybe it makes it predictable. I'm not really sure, but at least it's better than going back on your word and bringing back the person like a freaking week later. You know what I mean? That never really made any sense to me. So I thought the getting fired stipulation of last night's show with Team Cena getting fired, it didn't make it predictable for me because I still thought it was up in the air on who was going to win. But it was really unnecessary because we've seen it so many times, and fans, even short-term fans, have been accustomed to the thought of knowing that if someone's going to get fired, it doesn't last for long. They're back the next night. It doesn't really matter. So, less is more with that stipulation, unless you know someone's going to leave, like Jericho in 05. Like, for then it made sense, but Like now, like I'm trying to think of another instance where that was the case, but nothing really comes to mind right now. But still though, I think the "you're fired" stipulation is so stupid. They try to use it as a marketing tactic. Like you said, why do they keep on doing it? Because they want to sell pay-per-views. But like I said before, if people know that these people aren't going to be fired, if they know these wrestlers won't be fired, then what's the freaking point? People aren't going to buy into the stipulation the next time they advertise it. So makes no sense to me. I don't know why they keep on doing it aside from marketing, aside from a business standpoint and selling pay-per-views, but I really, really doubt that stipulation alone with Team Cena being fired last night really added anything to the people, oh, I want to sign up now. Like, I mean, if you were going to buy the WWE Network or sign up for Survivor Series, you would have done so before that stipulation was even announced. If Team Authority lost, then Authority would be out of power, not fired. You were going to sign up anyway. You weren't going to sign up just because Team Cena was going to be fired if they lost. Like, that added to it a little bit, but it was not like the selling point of that match. So aside from that, I really don't know why they continue to do it. It's so useless. Your next question was, I've seen a recent attitude change in AJ Lee since she has married CM Punk, who himself has a really strict and pissed off attitude. Do you think the WWE gave her a much more cocky and more pissed off attitude due to that fact? I don't know if it's really something that creative gave to her. I think it's more so her personality. And yeah, I do. It's not even before she got married to CM Punk. Like, you go back to her promos. I think it was the night after WrestleMania this year when she was cutting that promo and Paige came out. She was definitely channeling her inner CM Punk when she said that she was the best in the world or something like that. And it really annoys me when people chant CM Punk. And I know I'm a hypocrite because I did it in the videos here on the channel when she came back. But that was like her first appearance back since being married to Punk. So maybe I'm biased. I'm just going to say I'm okay. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. But freaking 5 months later, people are still doing it. It's ridiculous. So please stop if you're one of those people. If you go to a show and you're chanting for CM Punk during a Divas match, just stop. You're annoying everybody. But still, though, I don't know if it's really something that creative gave to her or if it's something that she herself has implemented. I think I lean more towards the latter because I think AJ Lee has more influence over her character. What they've been doing with her character makes no sense. Look, I'm still a big AJ fan, but the fact they've been making her a tweener without really establishing her as the babyface or the heel, I mean, it's so stupid because she attacks AJ, she attacks Brie Bella, then she attacks Nikki, she leaves her partners, leaving hanging high and dry like Emma a couple of weeks ago. Like, the stuff that they do with her character is so unlikable. Like, why would anyone want to cheer for her aside from her fans? Like, it really makes no sense. They really don't have an established role for her. So yeah, obviously marrying CM Punk, the influence of his character definitely has influenced her. I'm not gonna deny that, but I don't think even before they married, she was still channeling her inner CM Punk. I would say probably since the start of the year. About this time a year ago, I don't think she was doing it, but the promos, the mannerisms, the pipe bombs, and stuff like that was definitely influenced by CM Punk, in my opinion. But I think it was more of AJ Lee's incorporation of that as opposed to creatives. I don't think they said, oh, you married CM Punk, so we're going to make you more like him. I think it's more so her personality now. Now that she's married him, and he obviously must rub off on her, no pun intended. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But his next question was, the WWE Network for $9.99, or technically for free, because it's still November, and it's free, hashtag it all month long, has underwent recent upgrades regarding how you watch the network. Do you think the WWE Network is failing due to the fact that the WWE Network does not showcase a legitimate library of past SmackDown and Raw shows from the past? So, no, I don't think so. A lot of people will call the network failing. First of all, I don't think the network is failing. It came out earlier this year, and I know it's been 9 months, but they're still making strides in how they produce their content. Like, they recently came out with the continue watching feature, and I know people already had that for the PS3 and maybe the Xbox, but as someone who only watches it on their phone and laptop, I never had that, and it always pissed me off that unlike Netflix, they never had that feature. So I was very happy to see them incorporate that just last week. And also they're making, they have the Stone Cold podcast on there with the ECW Exposed stuff. They have a special on the Usos down after Raw. They have backstage, pass and stuff like that. That was already there. But they're still making more and more progress with the network and finally learning how to, not only how to promote it and how to, profit off of it, but how to plug stuff and, make stuff exclusive to the network. Like stuff like that, the breaking news stuff with Roman Reigns a couple months ago, like I said, the Stone Cold podcast. You keep that stuff exclusive to the network, it's going to mean more. So I'm very glad they started doing that, and they're really finally starting to make a stride with the network. And, like with the Sting stuff, maybe someone that saw Sting debut last night on the pay-per-view and they were not officially signed up, they weren't paying for it, maybe they'll sign up through the rest of December or something like that because they want to see what else will happen through the end of the year. So I'm finally glad to see them, putting an extra effort into building the WWE Network, adding more content, more exclusive stuff. I love it. I think it's great. So for that reason alone, I don't think they're failing. I think a lot of people are jumping the gun on that. I know it's been 9 months, but you gotta give it time, people. It has been 9 months, but Netflix has been around for years. I'm sure it was not a success right from the start. Maybe it was. I have no idea. But everything in life, especially in business, takes time to develop. I'm sure it's going to be a success over time. The subscriber numbers have not been great. I understand that, but it's going to take time for them to finally get it right with the stuff, the content and stuff like that. And with all the issues that the network has, and which I don't think there's that many, because I'm going to say subscribe no matter what, regardless of whether it's shit or great, and I think it's great. But I'm going to say subscribe no matter what. I'm one of those people. But that being said, though, I don't think a lot of people aren't going to sign up just because, I'm not going to sign up for the network just because there's not many Raws and SmackDowns from the past. Maybe that contributes to it. I really don't think so, though, because all the big Raws that happened in like the Attitude Era with all the big moments, they uploaded that in full already. I know they still have to. I mean, it's all about consistency with the network. They have a new episode of Monday Night War this week, none next week, no advertisement. They advertise a post show for the pay-per-view, airs nothing. Like, the consistency, I think, is what the biggest problem is with the network. So, like, they would upload all these Raws from 1995, and then they would just stop out of the blue. Like, at least address it or something like that. You know what I mean? Just don't let it go under the gun. Don't let it fly under the radar just because you got lazy and stopped uploading it. I have no idea why they do that, but no, I don't think it's because it's a failure because they don't upload all these Raws and SmackDowns from the past, because I don't think that's the biggest selling point for a lot of people. The biggest selling point is the old pay-per-views and the current pay-per-views. The Raws and SmackDowns are just a bonus. If they never uploaded any of that stuff, I'd be completely content, because I don't think in the last 9 months since I've signed up the network that I've watched a single episode of Raw in full on the network. I know they have all the episodes in full from like 2012, 2013, and this year, but for the most part, though, I do not go back and watch old content like that. I watch the pay-per-views, but the Raws and stuff, I really don't care to go back and watch for the most part. That's just me, though. But next question from Christian H. His question was, do you think Sting will be world champion? The Rock and Brock Lesnar have both been WWE champion. I'm sure he's talking about recently. And I know his age and everything, but never say never in the wrestling business. You said it yourself, never say never. I personally don't think he's ever going to be world champion in WWE, because like I said earlier on in the video, I do think that his run in WWE is a one-and-done type deal, and that he does one match at WrestleMania, and that's it. I'd be completely content with that. As long as they can feature him, he can be a representative of the WCW content on the network, and maybe make an appearance every once in a while. I think that's great. He doesn't need to be wrestling as a full-time basis. And Brock Lesnar and The Rock do have more runs left in them. Brock Lesnar is in greatest shape as he ever has been, and The Rock is as well. Say what you will about his wrestling skills as compared to, like 15 years ago. But still, though, Sting doesn't have that. Like, if you watch his work in TNA at the end, he was wearing a T-shirt. Like, it was fucking embarrassing. Like, I'm a Sting fan, no disrespect to him, but his matches at the end were not good. So I'm very happy. And I know people don't want to see Undertaker versus Sting at WrestleMania because of that, and because it could be a shitty match. But if it's only one match, I don't see the harm in doing it. So if he's only gonna have one match, it should be at WrestleMania, and just let it be. Having a full-on run. I'm not saying he needs to wrestle at every Raw and SmackDown like Jericho does and RVD and Batista did. And I know Lesnar and Rock only wrestle on the pay-per-view, so maybe that's what you're talking about. I just don't see that being a possibility. I mean, there's a chance he could have one more run, but I think for Sting, I think what he wanted when he signed with the WWE was one match, and that's it. So I'm very glad that that could be the deal. Like I said before, I wouldn't have a problem with him being a world champion, but I really don't see the purpose in that happening. Because like I said before, he can have a great match, maybe for a one match, but to have a full-on run, like I said before, go back and watch his TNA work. He didn't give a shit. He was wearing a T-shirt. The matches were not good at all. Like his match at BFG a couple of years ago with Magnus, I think it was last year, was not good at all. And Magnus is a very good worker, and I don't really blame it on him. I don't really blame it on Sting. They never really had the greatest chemistry. But, yeah, he's far beyond his prime at this point. So, and at 50 freaking something years old, I don't really want to see him as world champion, but that's the biggest difference between Rock and Brock and Sting is that he's 50 and they're like 30 or 40. So, no, I don't really see him want to be world champion, but like you said, never say never. Anya K, or Anyan K, I apologize if I mispronounced that. Their question was, what are your thoughts on Sting's future? Basically what I just said, I see him having a one-and-done type deal at WrestleMania. Maybe tonight on Raw it's announced that we're going to have Triple H versus Sting at the next pay-per-view. I have no idea. But from my booking standpoint, from my belief, we're going to have one Sting match at WrestleMania next year with him versus Triple H or The Undertaker, whoever, and that's it. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be done with WWE or anything like that. He could still make appearances, like I said before, but he's not going to wrestle anymore. So one more retirement match at WrestleMania, Sting versus Triple H, Undertaker, whoever else, and that's it. So those are my thoughts on Sting's future. And I don't, like I said earlier on in the show, I do not really want to see him as an authority figure. He's going to get watered down. He's going to become very lackluster by the time WrestleMania comes around. Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure he will be. So I don't want to see that become the case as a Sting fan myself. So I don't. So as far as my thoughts go on Sting's future, probably make a few appearances here and there. Hopefully not in every Raw before WrestleMania. Just show up every once in a while, be a surprise or advertisement, whatever. So that being said, I hope that he makes a few appearances between now and Mania, wrestles one match for WrestleMania, and he's done in the ring. Next question, at WeGaza487 from Twitter, his question was, why does John Cena not perform the overthrow move anymore? So I don't know what you exactly meant by overthrow. Maybe it's the move, and it's hard to describe, where they're like kind of bending over and he jumps over them and kind of plants their face into the ground like a bulldog kind of thing. If that's what you mean, I didn't really pick up on that he's not doing that anymore. But that being said, though, I'm not really sure. Sometimes a lot of moves they just either stop doing or something like that. I don't know. They want to kind of evolve their moveset, but then again, John Cena's the same guy that's been doing the same moveset for the last 10 fucking years. So I don't think that's the case at all. But I don't know if that's the move that you're talking about. I'm not really sure. I didn't really pick up on that. I don't really know if there's any real rhyme or reason behind it, because I know like Randy Orton used to stop doing the punt kick, and I know he does it very rarely nowadays. But Randy Orton stopped doing the punt kick because it would cause concussions and stuff like that. Like Jerry Lawler had to stop doing the pile driver for obvious reasons. It's very dangerous. The overthrow maneuver, if it's what I think you're talking about, I don't really think ever caused any of a problem. So I don't know if that's the case, but maybe it gave someone a concussion that I don't know about. I'm not really sure. But still, though, I'm not really sure. I can't really answer that question. But good observation. I never really picked up on that. At Cody Collier 12, his question was, what do you think was your favorite match and moment from Survivor Series and why? Moment, easily Sting's debut. That really goes without saying. And he sent this in, obviously, before the show ended. So he probably didn't think it'd be as easy of a question as it would end up being. But still, though, yeah, Sting's debut by far. I mean, that's probably one of the best moments of the year. I think that goes without saying. But still, though, that's easily my favorite moment from last night's Survivor Series show. Favorite match? I thought Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose was very good, but you can't really go with anything other than the main event, because I thought the main event was very well done. It had its problems. I'm not going to say it's perfect. Like the Ryback getting eliminated first, sure, it was a surprise, but I mean, really, was there any real point for that? I mean, they built the entire program around him for the next 2 weeks. For the last 2 weeks, they spent the entire episode of Raw and SmackDown building around this guy, and he's the first one gone for his team. Like, I didn't really understand that. Like I said before, it was a shock, sure, but just because it's a shocker doesn't mean it was good, So I don't know. In the Big Show heel turn, I could have done without. I would have hoped it would have been Sheamus. Maybe that was the original plan, because I think he might be legit hurt, so maybe that was the original plan. They switched to Big Show instead. I have really no idea, but I groaned when that happened. I was happy that John Cena was eliminated, but when Big Show turned heel, I was like, what the fuck, again? For the millionth fucking time? Are you serious? But still, though, I'm very happy that Ziggler was the sole survivor, and a few other questions coming about that in a second. But probably the main event, my favorite match, easily the main event, and my favorite moments, goes without saying with Sting's debut at the end of the show. At John Knapp 17, where does the debut of Sting rank on all-time Survivor Series moments? Well, John, you yourself made a list on my website, nextwrestling.weebly.com, listing the top 5 Survivor Series moments of all time. And you and I talked about this, that I fully agreed with your list. So we'll go off that list, because I think John's list incorporated Cena and Rock tag teaming in 2011 at Survivor Series, the debut of The Undertaker, the Corporation Angle in 1998, the Montreal Screwjob, and Shawn Michaels winning the World Heavyweight Championship. So of those 5 moments, Undertaker's debut at the time wasn't like, oh, this is epic, because like it would later become epic. So it's really hard to say about that. I mean, I agree with the list still, but I mean, you know what I'm saying though. Like we're not going to really know until Sting's run with WWE is over. Like 20 years later, we look back on the Undertaker's debut at Survivor Series and say that was epic, because we know that what he would end up becoming. But that being said, though, where does the debut of Sting rank among the all-time Survivor Series moments? I would probably put it above the Shawn Michaels World Title win. That may be saying a little bit much, but I think that was an amazing moment. But Sting's debut, if you really think about it, the guy has never been in WWE, arguably the greatest wrestler ever to never be in the company. So that being said, I think it definitely ranks up there as probably number 2. The Survivor Series, regardless of whatever happens, it's always going to be looked at as the home of the Montreal Screwjob in 1997. No matter whatever happens, Survivor Series will always be associated with the Montreal Screwjob. So that being said, I would probably say the debut of Sting is probably number 2 on all-time Survivor Series moments, right up there with the Montreal Screwjob. Next question comes from @Cheatsy Their question was, has WWE truly and finally regained confidence in Dolph Ziggler? I would like to think, I would really like to think so, because they could have easily switched spots with Ziggler and John Cena in the main event of last night's show, and they could have done Cena being the sole survivor instead, but they didn't. They did it with Dolph Ziggler, and I could not have been happier. They're finally giving the push he deserves. But like I said, he can go back to jobbing to fucking Fandango tonight on Raw for all we know. We really don't know. This guy was the sole survivor 2 years ago, too. And I know he beat John Cena in the main event of a pay-per-view the following month, but he went on to become really nothing. And I know he became world champion a few months later, but they really dropped the ball on him last year, so it's really hard to say. It's really, really hard to say. But it's all about the aftermath. I know I say that a lot, but it's really all about the follow-up with Dolph Ziggler. If they treat him like a star in tonight's Raw and going forward for the foreseeable future, then yeah, I would say they truly regained confidence in him. But it really says something from WWE that they put him as his sole survivor, had him eliminate 3 people in the main event of last night's show, and help him pick up the biggest win of his career by pitting all these top-tier superstars and whatever else, and helping Team Cena regain ownership of the company. You know what I mean? Like he was the one that put the authority away. Dolph Ziggler was the one that put the authority away. So with that being said, I would probably have to say yes, they did regain confidence in Dolph Ziggler. But like I said before, it's all about the follow-up and seeing if they follow through with the push for Dolph Ziggler. Because like I said before, he got a big push in late 2012, but that really led nowhere. So I'm hoping that this push is sustained, and someone else asked that question in a second. But I really do hope this lasts. So, kind of going to the next question, @CoachGray9, their question was, is this the beginning of a well-deserved sustained push that Dolph Ziggler deserves? I really, really hope so. Like I said before, it's all about the follow-up. But like you said, sustained is the key word here. Because like I just said a million times, we saw this in 2012, but it really led nowhere. The guy got one of the biggest pops ever in 2013 when he won the World Heavyweight Championship in Raw history. But still, though, it really led to nowhere because he got the concussion and they treated him like a jobber when he came back and all this other kind of stuff. So I really hope this is a sustained push that does last for a very long time. It does solidify him as a main event star. Only time will tell, but I really do hope so. I can't say yes with confidence, if only because WWE, like I said before, is really known for kind of going back on it. Like they could have had Ziggler win last night, and then make him go back to where he was before. You know what I mean? So it's really all about the follow-up. But I really do hope that this is the beginning of a sustained push that for Ziggler that he does truly deserve, like you said before. Because otherwise, why would you put the guy in the main event of Survivor Series, much less make him win and pin 3 people in the biggest match in recent WWE history? So why they did that and they're not going to continue to push him would be beyond me. So I really do hope, if that's any indication, then they do have plans to push Dolph Ziggler going forward. Next question comes from RJ @Raymond_Marceau. This question was, with Sting costing the Authority their jobs, including the Stinger as a candidate, who do you see replacing them? Like I said before, I really don't want to see Sting as a GM. I've said this before, if only because we saw in TNA, it was not good. He got watered down after a while, so I really don't want to see Sting, even though he was the one that cost the Authority their jobs, like you just said. It would make sense, but I really don't want to see it because I don't think Sting fits the bill of a GM or Authority figure, whatever. So who would I go with? Like I said on Twitter last night, Shane McMahon. I mean, RJ and I talked about this. The one that asked this question. RJ and I and John as well. We were talking about this on Wrestling Rant Radio a couple of weeks ago. It's here on the channel if you want to check out the clip. But Shane McMahon makes the most sense given his history with the McMahons, obviously. All this other kind of stuff. So I would hope it's Shane McMahon. I don't have my money on that at all because I don't think Shane has been involved with WWE for a very long time. I don't think he will be for a very long time. So dream booking here, Shane McMahon. Either Shane or Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle too would also be a dream scenario. But like I said before, I don't have money on that because I think he's back in TNA, sadly. But that being said, that's my dream booking scenario. I would give it to Shane or Kurt. Realistically speaking, do we really have to have a GM? You know what I mean? Does it really matter? Just have Mr. McMahon make decisions from time to time. Have him show up on TV every once in a while. That's pretty much it. Like if it's Hulk Hogan, maybe I can kind of see that. But aside from Hogan, really no one else makes sense. I don't want to see them bring back Brad Maddox or something stupid like that. I never really was a fan of Brad Maddox as GM. He was never on fucking TV. He would never be on fucking TV if he is giving back power, tonight on Raw. So I mean, we'll find out tonight on Raw. Like I said before, if you're watching this after Raw tonight, then you'll know better than I will. But I do think that if they really, really, really want to make this mean something, either they give it to someone that means something, like a Hulk Hogan or whoever else, or they just let Mr. McMahon run the show from behind the scenes. He does not need to be appearing on TV every single week like the Authority does. I could care less. I couldn't care less, I should say, about the Authority opening up Raw every single freaking week with a 20-minute promo. It's like Raw in like the Attitude Era, not the Attitude Era, in the Ruthless Aggression Era with Triple H when he was a part of Evolution, and he was kicking off Raw for like an hour every single week. So hopefully that is the end of that. And who would I give the Authority figure spot to? Maybe Hulk Hogan, but fantasy booking here, Shane McMahon. That'd be amazing, but only time will tell. Probably though, either Hogan or Vince. Just keep Vince as the one in charge and just leave it at that. No heel Authority figure. Just let it be. Next question, next question comes from That's What She Said 86. What do you think about Sting and Triple H feuding and The Undertaker returns to screw Sting? Then it makes Sting versus Corporate Undertaker WrestleMania. Corporate Undertaker, like Corporate Kane, are we talking about here? Like, I really don't want to see that. But I don't want to see Undertaker turn heel and join Triple H if that's what you're getting at here. I really hope that's not the case. I could see that happening. Like I said before, someone else mentioned it, and that maybe if we get Sting versus Triple H at the next pay-per-view and Undertaker comes out and costs him the match, and then we get that at WrestleMania, maybe. But like I said before, at this point, I would much rather have Sting just have one match at WrestleMania next year against Triple H. That's what they built to. That's what they planted the seeds for last night. It makes sense from a storyline standpoint. So just do that, Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania, and then just let it be that. If we don't get Sting versus Undertaker, it's not the worst thing in the world. If Undertaker can't go anymore, he had a great run. Just leave it at that. It's okay. We don't need to get both Triple H and Sting, but we don't need to get both Sting and Triple H and then Sting and Undertaker. I'm okay if it's just Sting and Triple H. I'm completely content with that. Yes, I am sad that Undertaker's pretty much officially done, if that's the case. But still, though, I think it would be great if we just got Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania and nothing else. I don't really want to see Sting and Triple H feuding, if only for Undertaker to come back and screw him, like you just said. I know that sounded weird, but even still, though, I don't want to see a match of Sting before WrestleMania. That's the bottom line. I do not want to see Sting and Triple H at TLC and then do another match at WrestleMania. I get it from a business standpoint. They want to sell the TLC pay-per-view. Oh, Sting's coming back, his first WWE match at TLC. It doesn't make any sense to me, so I would just do it at And then again, Brock Lesnar came back in 2012. His first match back was at fucking Extreme Rules when I thought they were going to save it for SummerSlam. So anything can happen in WWE. So I would probably say that save that match for WrestleMania. So no, like you said, think outside the box is what you put in your tweet. But I really don't need to see Sting at TLC or wrestling at TLC, then wrestling another match at WrestleMania. I wouldn't be pissed at it, but just do one match at WrestleMania, just one and done type deal, and just move along. And the final question comes from at the P1 Cena Bandit. What does John Cena need to do, in your opinion, to become a more well-rounded wrestler? Good question. I know I'm in the minority on this one. I'm going to get a lot of hate feedback for this. But I think John Cena is actually a great wrestler. Is he in the same league as CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler? Absolutely not. Maybe I shouldn't say great. I should say probably pretty good. But I'll say this, though. He's a better wrestler than people give him credit for. And I hate the argument that, oh, CM Punk carried him to a great match. Daniel Bryan carried him to a great match. Shawn Michaels carried him to a great match. I can't honestly remember a bad John Cena match on pay-per-view, like in recent memory anyway. Like the Bray Wyatt shit. It's not that John Cena's a bad wrestler. It's just that he didn't have any good chemistry. It's all about chemistry. I know people will maybe make the argument that John Cena works with all the right guys, and that's the only reason why he has great matches. But you look up and down the last few years, John Cena has had some of the best matches of the year, dating back to like 2007 with his match with Shawn Michaels, 2011 his match with CM Punk, 2012, I don't know, 2013 his match with Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. Like, John Cena is a lot better of a wrestler than people give him credit for, so I hate that argument that he's a shitty wrestler, you can't wrestle, it's only his opponents that carry him to a great match. I think that's bullshit. Only my opinion, but I just think that's bullshit. But what does he need to do to become a more well-rounded wrestler? It's really hard to say because WWE limits so much of what Cena and so many other people can do. Daniel Bryan can have one of the best matches I've ever seen. I mean, he still does anyway. He's still a great wrestler even when they take away moves from him. But still, though, they restrict so many moves that these wrestlers can't do that you'll never really truly know how great these people are. Like John Cena could be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and we never really know it. I don't think that's the case, but it's possible because they restrict so much of what these guys can do. So, that being said, what does he need to do to become a more well-rounded wrestler? Probably nothing, like I said before, because anything that he could probably add to his arsenal is restricted by WWE. Maybe add some more moves to the 5 moves of doom, but then again, I mean, I think that's also a little bit bullshitty too, because a lot of wrestlers have a 5 moves of doom, like Daniel Bryan. I mean, all these wrestlers. I mean, John Cena has added a lot more maneuvers to his arsenal in recent years, but still, though, I think the 5 moves of doom thing is ridiculous because I know it's a setup thing, and I still I poke fun of that too all the time on Twitter. But regardless, though, everyone has their setup moves. Like Randy Orton has the power slam and the backbreaker and the RKO, all this other kind of stuff. So I just think that's ridiculous. And Daniel Bryan, even one of the greatest wrestlers in WWE today, also does that. So WWE, bottom line here is that WWE restricts a lot of people's movesets. So that definitely hinders of what these people can do, including John Cena. So what does he need to do to become a more well-rounded wrestler? Probably nothing, because anything he could probably do is restricted by WWE. Just continue to add more arsenals to add more maneuvers to his arsenal, and he has done that in recent years. So I applaud him for that. Good job to John Cena and WWE for letting him do more things, kind of making his matches feel more fresh and more innovative, I should say. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of #AskGSM. Thank you so much for joining me, folks. I'm doing this with a cold, so I'm sitting here for an entire hour, and for a full 50 minutes I'm sitting here answering your questions, and I'm not complaining because I think all these questions were great, were very, very good, were all great, and especially coming off a very hot Survivor Series last night, I thought it was the best way to follow up that awesome show with these great questions. So that, I thank you guys. Continue to send in the questions on Facebook at Graham Jason Matthews. Leave a comment on the wall, or you can leave a comment on the post that I usually put up on Sunday nights when I gather the questions. You can leave a comment on the video itself. I'll be sure to include it in next week's video. And I'll also take any questions from Twitter. You can tweet me on Twitter at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. So like I said before, I'm on Thanksgiving break this week. So I'm very happy with that. I'm very fortunate because otherwise I would not have been able to film as long as a video as I have, over 50 minutes long. I can't remember the last time I did a video this long, probably over the summer. But like I said before, no perfect day for me to film a video other than the day after Survivor Series with all the great historic happenings on that pay-per-view. So that being said, folks, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All support is greatly appreciated. I'm Graham Jason Matthews. Have a great week, folks, and I'll see you in next week's video.